thought tonight, really exemplified, our summer, what our summer looked like as far as defending and playing with energy, sharing the basketball, and just, playing for 40 minutes. And I thought our team did that tonight. Everyone that came in the game, they gassed out. They gave a tremendous effort, and it was fun for me to watch those guys compete like that. And so that's what we worked on, and that's how we will continue to build on that. But I was really excited for this group. Excited to watch these guys compete, and it was fun watching these guys compete tonight.
Coach, first off, how's JJ doing? And then what does it say about your team to go out and dominate even without him?
JJ will be fine. The lower leg injury, I guess, but I'm sure he'll be fine. This team, you talk about depth, and I believe this team really does have depth. Anyone that can come in the court can contribute and make an impact. So, when JJ went down, we just, went to the next man up. You hear that a lot, but that's what this team can do. As far as we miss one guy. We've had that in the summertime as well. The practices have stayed, the competitiveness has stayed. So, it's a good thing to have, the roster that we have.
Coach, Nate George, 8 assists, 5 steals. Is this kind of what you envisioned when you saw his name pop in the portal? Yeah,
I thought he did a really good job of, getting people the ball, making passes. He finally calmed down. On offense, made a couple of shots. But when you have a point guard like him, you can give him the ball and let him, run the offense. And I thought he did a really good job of that. And stayed with it. In the first half was a little choppy. I thought the second half he kind of found the rhythm of the game and started making the right plays.
With JJ out, Cayenne got a lot more time on the court tonight. What were your thoughts on his play?
I thought Cayenne played really extremely well. It was I thought, especially on the defensive end, I thought he gave a lot of energy. I thought he moved. I thought he made the right rotations. So I was extremely proud of him tonight on that end. And then, I thought he gelled with the other group of guys when he was out there. But I was very pleased with Cayenne the way he played on both sides of the ball tonight.
Coach, didn't see Donnie Freeman back on the court. Just what you can say about his play and his return.
Donnie to me has come back and he's so much better, so much stronger. He does a really good job of putting pressure on the rim, and he hasn't shot it well yet, but he has the ability to make those shots. To me, he's going to be one of the best young players in the country this year.
Coach, the scoring efficiency jumped crazy in the second half from 38% to 68%. What did you see as the biggest difference in your team's offensive sets from the first half to the second half?
Well, I thought we got a chance in the second half to get some turnovers and get some easy transition points, and then they played some zones, so I thought we made the right reads, and we started attacking the basket. We stopped shooting from the outside so much and started really attacking the basket in the second half.
Adrian, Coach, they had 15 first-half turnovers today, and did you want it early in the game just to make an impression that you were going to guard them today?
It was just about playing our game. It wasn't about making an impression. We want to play for 40 minutes. We want to try to really make people work. That's the idea. Make people work with speed. Along with athletic, we can switch. So that was kind of the idea. It wasn't really a game plan to say we can make them turn it over, but they turned it over. But I thought we made some good traps from a man-to-man, which. We've been working on that and not as much, but they made a couple of good reads today. We're aggressive. We just want to be aggressive and disruptive. That's the only thing that we want to do.
Coach, you talked a lot of the last couple of years about how you want to play, fast. Do you feel tonight was kind of the best exemplification of that we've seen so far with you?
I think we've had some other teams that have had some good runs, but yeah, I thought the second half when the game kind of got up and down a little bit, but we made some stops. The reason why it got up and down is because we made some stops, and that's what we want to do. We don't want to, let them score. We want to get some stops to ignite our offense. So tonight was close to it. We still got some more work to do. It was close to it.
Hey, Coach, with all the good tonight, 4 for 21 from 3 and shooting about 28% counting the exhibition games from 3. What's your level of concern on the 3-point shooting?
Not a lot. The way we're gonna win is not how many threes we're gonna make. Like that's not what this team is about. That's not what we talk about, right? We take good shots on offense, and that's it. We won't let our offense dictate if we win or not. That's not gonna happen this year.
When you said it reminded you of what you saw in the summer, what did you see in the summer that really encouraged you about what you want to see throughout the season?
Just a group of guys. I mean, it was so competitive. It was times where, these guys just compete and get after it. It was, we played a lot, but the competitive and the physicality and the gym was at a high level. It was just always at a high level. And even in September when people started kind of coming in, those were some of the comments. Was it, beautiful basketball at times? No, but it was, it was competitive. It was intense. And we'll continue to do that.
Why do you think there was such a big difference from last week pace to tonight?
I don't know. I thought, again, I don't know. I was just worried about tonight and trying to get these guys ready and and prepared, and I couldn't answer that.
Coach, what do you say about the impression that William Kyle made tonight in front of the stands the first time?
Will is an exceptional defender, athlete, but he has a little bit more to his game than people give him credit to. He's a really good passer. He can go off the bounce a little bit more. So again, I mean, he did what I thought he could do. So I don't know what everyone else's impressions was, but oh yeah, he was a little undersized, but he plays bigger than his size. How about that?
Coach, to have players like Kyan and Tyler come off the bench who have double digits for you guys, how important is it to kind of develop that growth, especially, JJ's going to be fine, but you have players, come out with injury?
It's huge. It's huge to be able to, people always talk about depth, right? But it's huge to be able to have guys that can come in off the bench and be a double-digit scorer and contribute. So where it can pick up from someone else, right? Like that's kind of the ideal, right? For every team is, when someone else is not doing well, you have enough people that can come in and impact the game. But it's huge to be able to have guys that can come off the bench and give you some scoring punch.
Coach, the team looked extremely energetic today. What would you say that's a product of?
The work we've been doing since we got here. From the first day we got here, that's what I would give the credit to. That's how we practice. That's how we play every day.
A bunch of guys picked it up tonight when JJ was out, but what if anything changes when he's not on the court for that one?
What
if anything changes when JJ's not?
What if anything changes?
Yeah, if anything.
I mean, again, you're talking about JJ, who's an all-conference, second team guy that can get downhill, that can defend. Obviously we played well after that, but he's a big part of what we plan on doing, and he probably would have helped our offense a little bit more because he was just starting to get going and getting into the lane. So in transition, we get him the ball in transition. He's a guy that can get it up the court and make decisions, especially if we can get some steals. So he's a big part of what we do.
Coach, what can you say about Lavelle Sanders and the Bearcats, and now they're going to go on with their season, but what did you see from them, and what were you expecting of this season?
I thought they were tough. I know they were, a little undermanned. I know they had some injuries, but I told them after the game I like this team. I think they tough. They kept playing. They didn't look scared. I think he's going to have a really good year this year. They're a tough team. They kind of exemplify his personality and what he expects. So, I think they're going to be really good. The big guys really good. The guards, they didn't have their best day today, but I'm sure that they will. But I like their toughness. I like the way they played. I like their composure.
Red, you noted JJ's going to be fine. From what the trainers told you, is it a good sign that he was back on the bench and could come out and be a part of things?
It was a good sign. Yeah, it was a good sign for him to come back out. So, I'll know a little bit more, but if it was something serious, I would probably know by now.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.